Hi everyone, welcome to this video. It's actually going to be a little bit of a shorter one because I just sort of want to get a few feelings I have about Assassin's Creed Mirage off my chest, but also I kind of want to give an update to what's going on my channel because I feel like I've probably been quite quiet a lot recently. So after the essay portion of the video is done, at the end of it there's going to be a little update on the channel, so feel free to stick around for that if that's something you're interested in hearing. But anyway, on with the video. I might do a title card or something, or just something lazy. I've been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed Mirage lately, and like everyone in the Assassin's Creed community, I love what it has to offer and I love what it's striving to be. I've completed the main story, explored every nook and cranny. There's so much detail, culture, story, and even love poured into the setting of Baghdad. As a massive Assassin's Creed fan since its release back in 2007, it's no secret on my channel that I'm easily swayed by a good Assassin's Creed game, and Mirage is definitely one of those. But it's taken me back to a place that I thought I would never see again, and there's a sadness that comes with playing and experiencing Mirage in such a short amount of time because it isn't what many consider nowadays a fully length game. It's about a modest 20 to so hours if you're really focusing on the story, compared to gaming's now 200+ hour games we're so used to seeing. Ubisoft Bordeaux seeked and succeeded in capturing a nostalgia for the franchise, but despite all that Mirage does very well, there seems to be a feeling that it's held back by the same engine that the previous games have been working on, most notably Valhalla and its use of animations. Plenty of NPCs look lifeless and almost animatronic, and the lip syncing seems to work on and off depending on the situation and of course the priority of the characters you're talking to. The parkour around the city feels familiar and fun, not refreshing in what we've seen in the RPG, once again held back by that engine, but there's a portion of love and there's the element of the city being made to be parkoured around that makes this game feel totally different from the RPG games where you're unable to even parkour around a huge open world because of the incredibly impressive scale of each of those maps. Just the focus from combat to a stealth priority Assassin's Creed game is something that hasn't really been seen in the franchise for a very long time. Walking in the streets, stalking your targets, it brings back a sense of nostalgia and that Assassin's Creed Altair fantasy we knew back in the beginning. It's a feeling I haven't experienced and long missed now for nearly over a decade, and Mirage isn't even say the best Assassin's Creed game, it isn't the saviour of the franchise, but what I do respect about it is it chooses a lane and sticks to making sure it's the best in the franchise for doing one thing, and that thing is the stealth, the opportunities, the tools, and the ways that you can take down and handle situations in the environments. Despite the parkour having its shortcomings, the stealth allows that parkour element to feel more lifted in its presentation because of the freedom of movement allowed to the player and the design of each stealth arena per se. All of the best Assassin's Creeds known to the fan all have elements that they're usually seen as the best of in the franchise, and Mirage I think holds the crown now for the stealth, and maybe not since Assassin's Creed Syndicate has it ever been this fun and fluid. Easily made it a top 5 contender for the greatest Assassin's Creed games of all times just because of its flow of gameplay alone. But that sadness was lingering and returned as soon as I was really getting into it. The game was finished and had nothing else to offer me. I finished all the contracts, the story was complete, all the events in the world had been done, all I had to do now was collect the collectible, and that's about it. It took me just under 30 hours and it was a shame to see it go so quickly. It's a sadness or a nostalgic feeling that only occurs to say when you're driving through a street or maybe passing a school you once knew and visited every single day. You see what you love and you remember moments in just the elements that you get to visit, and maybe you dislike or love the elements and memories that come flooding back, but because you're only passing through, those memories and that feeling of nostalgia is gone just as quickly as it arrived, and it got me wondering, are we ever going to come back to this street, or are we just passing through for one final hurrah? And there was almost a comfort to feel like a younger me again playing Assassin's Creed, or at least feeling like I was playing Assassin's Creed where it all began, a comfort I've been wanting and needing to return to for a very long time, and it was nice just to go back for a moment to feel like this old Assassin's family is coming back together. Which brings me on to the topic. While we're on the subject of nostalgia, let's talk about Assassin's Creed 2. Assassin's Creed 2 brought us the beginning of the Ezio trilogy, the man in the face of the franchise, even long after his story was long done and dead. They'll keep finding ways to keep using this man. I've already made an essay about the first 4 games in the franchise, so feel free to check that out, but I quickly skimmed over Assassin's Creed 2, not really explaining why it was so important to me and the franchise, and I think that's all because it's just a matter of family, really. Ezio's family, that is. The song by Jasper Kidd, Ezio's family. This one. Ezio's Family went on to be the main theme song of the franchise, and for some people see it as overused or not being used correctly, and I got inspired to make this video by a comment I got a while ago, and maybe you're watching now, where we discussed about Ezio's Family being overused and how I felt like some people didn't understand the whole point of Ezio's Family as a song and what it really represents in the Assassin's Creed franchise. In Assassin's Creed 2, we're introduced to Ezio and his family, his brothers, his sister and his mother. This is Ezio's family, and when you're being introduced to them, of course that theme plays. It's Ezio's family and what it means to him and his comfort and his safety, but he doesn't fully understand a lot of his family's secrets, mainly his father being part of the Assassin's Order. Throughout the intro and tutorial mission, you begin to learn a lot more about his father's associates within the city. Thieves, sex workers, mercenaries and politicians are all at his fingertips, all working alongside him. Ezio doesn't fully understand the lengths and how important his dad is as a person, and accidentally plays into the Templar's hand, has his father and his brothers double crossed and killed publicly. Ezio is forced to flee the city and has to live with his uncle, who trains him to fight and understand weaponry a little bit more. But unlike Altair from the last game, who's already deeply embedded and has the understanding of the Creed, we get to see Ezio from the beginning learn exactly what the Assassin's Creed means, what it stands for, and who he will be as an assassin. And throughout the story of Assassin's Creed 2, we see Ezio learn from all these different members and associates his father once knew, those thieves, mercenaries, prostitutes and politicians, to understand the importance of the Creed and what it means to be an assassin in the then modern Renaissance era, while retaining himself and learning that his mission is more than revenge and goes way deeper than he could have ever imagined. After learning from the best in the business and discovering that this plot goes deeper than he originally thought, Ezio is then met in Venice by everyone who had trained him this far, and he finally realizes that they are all actually connected by the Assassin's Creed. Ezio then is asked to take an oath in the Creed and finally take that leap of faith, and we discover that it took this man to lose his family to finally find a new one that has guided him and raised him to become the man and the assassin we all know and love. And I think that is the meaning of Ezio's family. Ezio's story is a long and interesting one, which makes him one of the most interesting characters I think in the gaming industry, just because of how widespread and drawn out it was and how well executed all three games in the trilogy were. And throughout his whole journey from being a young man to being an old one who's dying, we hear that theme, Ezio's family, always accommodating him. The song isn't to be taken in a literal sense. His family is those around him and those he takes under his wing. He has his literal family, and then he also has the Creed, the ones he trains, the ones he mentors, and of course the ones he clearly cares for throughout his journey. And even after he's gone and the games continue, we still continue to hear you knew what a story was going to mean and how it was connected thanks to the family theme song. And it over the years has evolved and changed with each entry like it should. It's morphed and shaped to the protagonist assassin of each game, allowing us to get an understanding of how this shroud of this assassin's family also follows them throughout their story. Hearing it and seeing it used now over a decade later still makes it just as impactful as the last. It's the essence of what makes those original games so beautiful, even if it is absent from the first one. The theme echoes the passion the fans and Ezio had for the Creed, and it's the nostalgia and the duct tape keeping together the less than loved RPG games. Ubisoft held on to the Ezio family song because it needed to remind us of the history and the Assassin's Creed games that we fell in love with at the very beginning, and there is a warming love and comfort that comes from hearing that iconic theme, no matter who it's morphed for. I believe Assassin's Creed Mirage only ever used it once throughout the main story at a later part of the game, not to spoil anything, still early days, and I think as soon as you heard it, and soon as you heard Basim's version of Ezio's family, you realise that the developers of Mirage truly understood what the song stood for and what it meant and what it means to the fans to hear an assassin who you've come to know just as long as Basim at the point in the game grow into something we're also familiar with by this point. Assassin's Creed Mirage earned that right to use Ezio's family, and I won't forget it anytime soon. Before Mirage was out, watching YouTubers speculate and talking to friends about what the game's going to be and what it could possibly stand for as an entry of the Assassin's Creed, through all its excitement and of course skepticism, there was a feeling that came flooding back with all of that dialogue. It got me thinking of being in high school and talking to my friends about adventures with Ezio and what the next Assassin's Creed would have been, Assassin's Creed 3 at that point, and what Connor is going to bring to the story that Ezio couldn't. Back when Assassin's Creed still felt fresh and many of the fans were on board to see where the stories would go next. Mirage for a second brought back that feeling, the greatest hits compiled into a feeling of family, a family and community that the Assassin's Creed franchise was built on, and I haven't felt since maybe Assassin's Creed 4 or Unity at least. Mirage's theme in itself as a game is about finding belonging in a chosen family and of course belonging to oneself. Finding your purpose where you feel like it didn't ever exist before. The themes that are carried still throughout Assassin's Creed 1, 2 and 3 that they all share in common. The best Assassin's Creeds are all about exploring these themes and drawing from the heart of what made us love Assassin's Creed as a community in the first place. Bringing back a feeling of comfort I felt like was lost to time. Mirage does more than what remakes seek out to do these days, instead chooses to hold on to the nostalgia and love you have for the original entries and allows you to feel comfort that's often missed in the AAA scene at the moment. And maybe not since Resident Evil 7 has a game reminded us that it's okay to love and celebrate what was the foundation and great history of games that we now still continue to love despite all the changes made throughout the franchises. And that really is that sadness. I don't know if Mirage is a passing by familiar face or a love letter here to stay and here to evolve the franchise. Mirage, despite what people may think, has brought the community back together, built on a song of family, and I hope that in time this Assassin's Creed community family will treasure that as well. Okay, I'm done. I've scratched my assassin's itch. It was a nice itch. I'm bleeding now. I did it with a knife. So with the update on the channel, obviously it seems like I've probably been quiet for a while, which is true. But what I'm planning on doing with the channel is just taking my time with a lot more videos now. I want things to be, despite this one being quite short, I want a lot more videos to feel longer. I want them to have a higher quality in production. So I'm hoping to sort of focus on each video more. Sometimes you may get a short one, you may get a 20-minute one or so every now and then, but I'm hoping to at least make 40-minute videos, maybe an hour tops, depending on how it goes. I kind of lost my love for YouTube for a little while, and you know, being creative, I just needed a space to step away from. So I've just been playing games. I've played Starfield, Assassin's Creed, you know, I've never played Cyberpunk. Now that the update's out, I've been playing Cyberpunk. You know, I've just sort of been taking time for myself, and I feel like I'm kind of recharged. So I'm currently working on the Last of Us video, which is already shaping up to be quite a big one already. So I hope people enjoy that one once it comes, and I hope you enjoyed this little video. But yeah, sorry for being absent for a little bit, and I probably will be absent, you know, every now and then, but don't think I'm going to give up on the channel. It just means I need to have a little breather and just sort of reassess where I'm going with the channel. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and of course I will, as usual, leave you. Bye bye. I'm dumping you now. I'll see you at the next checkpoints. Bye bye.